Hey family, it's Tasha MAMABEAR prepping. You already know what time it is. Get your drink, pull up, let's talk about it. Welcome to the channel, welcome back to the channel. We just talk about emergency preparedness here, how to get ready for different natural disaster events, different things that might happen to you and your family, and how to deal with those things. Today, we're kind of just having a discussion about the things that I get so frustrated about because they're preparedness items, right? They're items that we use all the time on an everyday basis, a lot of these, and or several times a week, and they're constantly being depleted, constantly. And it's hard to prepare those things because the idea behind preparedness and stockpiling is you stockpile stuff, right? You stockpile it up, whatever the time frame, whatever your goal is. But life happens and you're obviously not buying every single product every single time, right? And so as you're moving forward and starting to stockpile other areas, maybe you lean back and fall back on some of your preps that you're not currently buying, right? And before you know it, that stuff starts to dwindle down and you find yourself in a situation where you don't have that thing stocked up that much. And my problem is I have several items here. I'm going to go through 17 that we constantly are using, and I feel like I never have enough of this prep item. Okay, so maybe this is you too. Think about the things that you use all the time and you feel like you buy all the time, but you are always buying it and you're always using it. Okay, and so that you can come up with a game plan to be able to stockpile and really make a more conscious effort of making sure that this stuff is actually stockpiled. So one thing I have is coffee. Now, in some people's eyes, they would be like, wow, I think you have quite a bit of coffee, right? But in my eyes, I do not. There's been several times this last year that we've gone into the preps to get coffee, right? We do a rotation here of stuff, but some stuff that lasts a very long time, especially if it's an item that will last forever. We just maybe are slower with the rotation. But there's some items that we're constantly in and getting in. And what's funny is I buy coffee pretty often from the store, not every trip, but pretty often. And I still feel like it's an area that we just do not have enough for the future, for the day that the shelves are cleaned out and we don't have coffee, right? And you can't buy it from the store. So coffee is one. The next one is creamer. We constantly are using creamer. Obviously, we use it every single day for coffee. But again, if like I slip up or I don't get some of the liquid creamer and we run out, we get into our stores, right? And we start getting out the powdered stuff, whatever. And every time I do, and I'm like, I look, right? This is your opportunity to look at your stockpile. And I'm like, there's just not enough. Like sure, do I have enough to last me a few months, maybe 6 months? Absolutely, I have enough. I'm not gonna die if an event happens. I have coffee. However, when you think long term and you think about really going through a time period where it is difficult to get items, where there's a true famine going on, there's maybe ration cards happening and limits happening at stores and different things are happening, and the ability to get certain things, right, and high tax on certain things, or the price of things or go up because you can't get them, coffee will be one of those things. And so it's important that, especially if it's a luxury for you, it's something that you need, it's something you're going to need later if you're just trying to stay up and have rounds where you're watching your home and that type of thing, right? Military is alive because of coffee, right? We run on coffee. So those are two things I feel like we never have enough of, is coffee and coffee creamer. Next thing I have is vinegar. I do so much with vinegar. You just do not realize there's certain things in your life that you use a lot of things for. Vinegar gets used a lot in my house. I cannot keep vinegar. I swear I'll have 4 or 5 big gallon bottles of it. Before you know it, I don't have any. I'm down to my last, right? And I just use it a lot. I use it a lot in canning. You're using it in different recipes for food preservation, using it for cleaning drains with baking soda. Just 1,001 ways that you can use vinegar, which I love because it's so versatile, but I also am not very good at keeping it. Now, the good thing about vinegar is things go left. If you have certain fruits and stuff at your, on your property, right, you can make your own vinegar. It takes a while, right? You're not making it and being able to use it right on the spot. It takes several weeks to make a batch, but you are able to make it, right? And so I fall back on the hopes of that. You got to make sure that you have some certain types of fruits and vegetables, fruits on your property to be able to do that, or have the ability to get those fruits to be able to do it. But it's possible, right? But vinegar, I feel like I never have enough. Next thing I have on here is batteries. I've talked about this before on different videos. I just never have enough batteries. We go through them. I'll do a big push, buy a bunch of batteries, and then we're just using them. We're slowly, every time I mention it, people are like, why are you not on the rechargeables? We're pushing towards rechargeables now, more heavily. But again, your girl is always thinking grid down and stuff. And I don't know. For some reason, I just don't compute that much with the rechargeable batteries. But they're needed, right? Especially a family like us that goes through so many. Next thing I have is trash bags. Now, trash bags is one of those things where, in past years, I've really stockpiled them. I've really had them, but I've mentioned this also in the last year that we were here. Most of this year, I did not do any shopping. Like, I wasn't out actively buying preps, actively buying tons of groceries. I mean, we were literally, and not on purpose, we just were really busy. We got really wrapped into the house, trying to get the house back up and running. And we just really didn't even realize till like 7 or 8 months into it, like, wow, I haven't really done any hauls. We're really living off the stuff that is in the house on our preps, right? And that was food items, that was other items. We really was leaning hard on that for no particular reason, but we really did. Trash bags happen to be one of those things. The other day I start doing some little bit of inventory and I'm like, man, I feel like trash bags. And there used to be once upon a time where trash bags was something I was buying every trip, if not every month, right? Because I was trying to build the stockpile up, right? So there's those things that you use all the time, but trash bags, and they're so versatile. Again, several things that you can use those for that are needed. Big, large black trash bags, kitchen trash bags, the bathroom size and a little bit smaller size. I mean, you've got to have these trash bags. You need them for grid down for your toilet system. It's just super, super important that you don't let this prep get down to a low level, okay? Another thing that I feel like in my family we run out of all the time is canned soups. Now, you would think you're a prepper, you probably have 1,000 cans of canned soup. No, we do not. We have thousands of cans of canned food, but not necessarily canned soups. I personally cook and make homemade soups and stews a lot in our everyday cooking cycle, right? Our family, what we eat, right? But hubby he loves soup, and so we get canned soup. We have stockpiles that are dedicated to soup. That's part of our medical supplies, not really part of our food stores. And it's specifically kept with broth and soups that are specifically kept with our medical supplies, right? And outside of that small stockpile, there's not that much in our normal everyday. And what I do get, and when I do find a sale, hubby is clearing it out. Like if I get the stuff he likes, he's clearing it out, right? And so I feel like I never have enough canned soup, ever. The good thing is I have a lot of soup preserved as well that I've made and then pressure canned. So we have a lot of soup on the shelf, but just not in the way of canned soup. And I feel like we never have enough. Next thing I have is work gloves. I don't know about you, baby, but these are like socks. Like we use all types of different work gloves. The kids have work gloves. We have work gloves. We have work gloves for the shop. We have work gloves when we're doing a project. We have work gloves for the house. We have work gloves for the garden, right? And I feel like we just go through them all the time, okay? Work gloves, can't have enough, need different varying kinds. And I feel like we're always looking for work gloves, need work gloves, need enough for everybody that's working on the project at the time. So it's just one of those things is I feel like we never have enough work gloves. Next thing is candles. Now you might say, Tasha, don't you make candles? I definitely make candles, but that's for the business, right? As far as candles, I am a candle, I don't want to say, I have some choice words, but I love candles, right? I love candles. You can't go wrong with getting me a candle. I buy candles. I buy the cheap candles from Target and from Walmart. They're about the same now in price, which has gone up significantly. So it's a little bit harder for me to buy these candles in regards to the price. It's close to that price point where I'm like, I can't do it anymore, right? But I can't have too many candles. I get them from the Dollar Tree, all different types, votives, the tall ones. I just love candles, love candles, love candles. I have a variety of them, can't go wrong. But because I love candles, who burns candles on a regular basis? Me. It's not like I just stockpile them as a prepper and keep them for a rainy day. No, I'm using them, right? And so I feel like I never have enough candles because I know the importance. I want to have lots of candles in my stockpile. However, this girl burns the crap out of candles. I love candles, okay? And if you walk in my house, there's hardly ever a time you're gonna walk in my house where there's not at least one candle burning. And oftentimes there's several candles burning, okay? So I go through some candles. Next thing is pet food. I've set up the pet food in the past on my Amazon subscriptions or through Chewy. I've done it a couple different ways. That does work for a little while, and you stockpile and then you're like, okay, I have enough. You want to be careful with your dry foods. I've stockpiled a ton of canned stuff, and then I'll stop. I'll be like, okay, I think I have enough, right? Like, don't be greedy. You got your stockpile. But then time goes by and then you start to use that and you start to use it and you start to use it. And then you realize, okay, maybe it's time to start the subscription back up because you're dwindling it down. So in the realm of food across the board for livestock and pets, I always feel like I do not have enough, because if you think about how much we have stockpiled for us humans, I don't have that much equal to that much stocked for pets and livestock. And so to me, that's on the to-do list. I've got to get going with that. Do I have stockpiled food for them? Yes. But in my eyes, it's never enough. I do not have enough. Okay. Another thing, and people might not agree with this, but something I feel like I never have enough of is seeds. And so don't get me wrong, I have hundreds of seeds, right? But if you think about your seed collections, you probably have seeds that you're never gonna plant or sow, right? Seeds that they're just foods you're not into. Like, I'm not into eggplant. I'm never gonna plant eggplant, not unless it's in the future and I'm the person growing food and I'm growing eggplant to be able to sell it or trade it or barter it, right? Like, I'm never going to do that, right? And often people are like, well, if you learn to collect seeds, then you don't have to even worry about, having and keeping and storing seeds, right? And a lot of that is true. But again, remember, I like options. So I like to do it all. But seeds is one of those things I feel like I never have enough, especially if it's a seed of a food that you plant all the time. You run through your seeds, that season, and you don't have any more carrot seeds because you grow a crap ton of carrots. Every carrot you can, grow seed wise, you grow and you go through them. So just something to think about: seeds, which ones you don't use, which ones you use, stockpiling the ones that you use a lot, right? Learning how to get those seeds, obviously from the plant itself, after it bolts or whatever the case for getting seeds from that. But I'm telling you, I feel like I never have enough seeds. Next thing is water. Now, you already know, baby, water's my thing. We collect water, we store water, we collect water, we love water, right? I have to have water. We have a lot of water stored. We have a lot of water preps, a lot of preps that have to do with making water safe to drink. But in reality, I'm always going to say we don't have enough water. Obviously, the smaller things of water that we buy, like bottled water, smaller versions, we run through that, right? The water that goes in the Berkey, we run through that. Like, we run through tap water all the time. We drink a lot of water in this house, actually. And so I feel like we never have enough water, right? It's just the name of the game, and where I think we're going as a country in regards to water and the wars and the things that are going to happen. I'm just not comfortable with where we're sitting, and I'm never comfortable. Next thing is liquor. Now, liquor, one, because yes, we do drink it on a regular basis. Two, I use it quite a bit for medicinal stuff, for tinctures, making tinctures, things like that. And three, I keep it because I like it for our medical preps, for disinfecting and stuff like that. I like it for our cooking preps, for cooking with with it, right? With the little cook stoves and using liquor to burn, to cook on. So I like having liquor, again, very versatile, has all these different uses. And we use it. And so I never feel like we have enough. I don't have some kind of magic closet with, 100 bottles of liquor. I don't. And it's funny because let's say I get a stockpile. Let's say I get 4 bottles of vodka for tinctures. But baby, once you do that goes fast. Like that's not, I don't use it overnight with tinctures, but if you start getting into tinctures, start doing stuff, like that goes fast, very, very fast. And then if you're like, okay, well, a couple bottles are going to go in medical, and even our personal drinking stuff, it just goes fast. Like liquor does not last when you're doing those projects. And when you want to make sure that you're preserving some for medical, for cooking, for different things, okay? So liquor, I'm never going to think we have enough. Vitamins, I don't know if I mentioned, I don't think I did. So vitamins, medicines, supplements, anything over the counter, but medicine. We see these shortages, we see them happening. But you got to get ahead of that stuff. If you think this is going to stop with children's medicine, you're sorely, that's not a thing. That's just what's happening right now in this moment of time. Medicine is going to be a problem. We're going to run into a problem where it's not on the shelves. You're not able to get stuff. It's going to be everyday stuff you can't get. And I feel like we never have enough medicine. Of course, do I think I go in there and I have certain medicines that we use all the time, enough of? Sure, for a while, but there's certain things that you're going to want to have forever. You're going to want to have this stuff, right? And so or you go through something, I mentioned a while ago, last year when we were sick, we were all sick for like 2 months, and we ran through the cold medicine, the cough syrups, the throat spray. We ran through all that stuff, bottles and bottles and bottles of that stuff, a huge stockpile, and we ran through it like it was nothing, right? Depleted everything. And so I think it's important to get your over-the-counter meds, because I feel like we never have enough. Other thing I feel like we never have enough of is your basic medical supplies. Yes, there's specialty items that you want to make sure that you get, but just having your basic, all the different size bandages, all the different types of bandages, tons of Neosporin, tons of all that stuff, your basic everyday medical stuff, you've got to have that stuff, and you've got to have a stockpile. And I feel like we never have enough. Like I have a pretty good sized stockpile, but it's not. If one event happened where there was people that were injured and hurt, and I had to treat those people, first responder, treat them up, bandage them up, whatever, we're depleted, right? We get in one gunfight, depleted with medical supplies, with bandages, with Band-Aids, with the creams, with all that stuff, the bleed stop, all of that stuff, the new skin, everything. We don't have, enough for, we're depleted as soon as you go through any major event, right? Earthquake happens, buildings are falling down, people are hurt, cut, scraped, broken bones, whatever. You go through an event, we're depleted. So it's not like, people are like, oh, preppers are taking everything and hoarding everything. When the reality is yeah, we put a couple bottles of stuff, extra bottles away of stuff, a couple extra cans of stuff. Maybe there's a certain item that we keep a lot of, right? But for the most part, if you walk into most of our homes, yes, I think you'd be impressed as far as like, wow, you guys really have a lot of stuff, because in bulk, it looks very big. But if you actually think about an event and something happening, you don't have shit. You don't have anything, right? There's not enough of it, right? One event, I don't have enough. I would be depleted with my medical supplies, right? So it's hard. A bout of a horrible stomach ache, whatever, something, everybody's sick, whatever, and you have a group of people that runs through your little community, and you're depleted, right? So at the end of the day, I don't have enough of that stuff. I never have enough of that stuff. Next thing I never have enough of is jars, canning jars, food preparedness items. Never going to have too many Mylar bags, never going to have too many vac seal bags, never going to have too many jars and extra lids and this and that. I'm never going to have too much of that stuff, because that's going to be a constant. Things go left, I'm still going to be pressure canning. I'm still going to be doing food preservation, if not more, right? You get your hands on meat from the store, limits, rations. Maybe somebody goes hunting, or you go hunting, you get an animal. That stuff has to be preserved. And so you're never gonna need, I never have enough jars and cans. I think about the day where there is a point when you have enough jars to just kind of work the rotation, right? You have enough on your shelves, you have several cases of empty jars, and as you do your projects, but as you're eating from that pantry also, you're getting new jars that you rewash, reuse, whatever. But from time to time, jars cannot be reused, they get chips, whatever, they break, they're not strong, they've been used too much, and so you constantly need more stuff. But you do get to a point where you can slow down on that for sure, right? And then just have a pretty good stockpile of maybe 6 to 10 cases that are kind of your like emergency in the future backup, right? Because you have enough in rotation. But baby, if you're just new to food preservation and you're just now getting the project, you're constantly buying jars. You're constantly buying that stuff to make whatever it is you're trying to get in jars and make shelf stable. So I feel like I never have enough jars. I am looking forward to the day where I can slow down on that, but right now it's not now. Next thing I feel like we never have enough of is toilet paper. Again, people think, well, toilet paper is so easy, right? You get a couple cases, those big cases from Costco. That's going to last you months and months and months. And yes, it does last months and months and months. But if you have any size family, you know that toilet paper goes quickly. And two, in our house, we have a septic. We're not doing, wipes is not really an option for us. A lot of families, they have options. People go into the bathroom, they have options. You know, maybe you have a bidet, maybe you have toilet paper, maybe you have wipes. You know, we just got toilet paper. And so it gets used. And so I feel like, even though, again, I have a little stockpile, but if you think about it in reality, you know, do I even have a year's worth? Probably not, right? Because it's just something that we're constantly using. And that's the thing I want you to get from this is you have items that you're possibly prepping, right? But you use them. And then time goes by, you're concentrating on other areas, right? You're filling other holes. And before you know it, that area that several months ago you used to be pretty good in and you felt pretty good about, all of a sudden you realize it needs attention, it's being depleted because it is an item that you're using all the time. It's very easy to have an item that you rarely use, think about it, get it, stockpile it, get enough for 6 months or a year, put it away somewhere, and then it just stays there and you're good, right? But when you're talking about items that you use every single day, and you're not buying that thing every single time you go to the store or even every month, it's easy when you're concentrating on other things that you then realize, wow, that thing is being depleted and we do not have enough of it, okay? And then my last thing is books. I will never have too many books. I need more books. I'm constantly getting books. I constantly want books. Books are so important. Knowledge is so important. Can't have too much of it. Always be learning. I mean, can't have too many gardening books, too many holistic, herbal books, too many medical books, too many how to do books, building project books. I mean, you name it, books are important, and I'm never going to have enough, right? It's something that I'm always going to be behind on in my eyes, right? You can come in and be like, wow, you have a pretty good book collection. But in my eyes, I'm like, no, we got to keep this going because I believe, like 1984, baby, it's going to be legal. You're not going to be able to get books. You're not going to be able to get a Bible. And so it's important to preserve this stuff, to get this stuff, to stockpile this stuff, to have this stuff. If you talk about an event that takes us off the grid and brings us to our knees, and it's a world-ending event or close to it, and you're having to literally, you don't have anywhere to learn how to do something, books is what's going to bring you through, right? Books are what's going to teach people those skills again so that they can learn how to do stuff and then pass that down on to generation and learn how to do stuff again. If you don't have books, you're just in the water. You're just dead in the water. Like, I don't know how to do that. I don't know where to start. I don't have the supplies, whatever. And if you have these books, it's going to be helpful for survival overall in all types of categories across the board, right? Something as simple as cookbooks with recipes, with bread recipes, with different stews and soups and one-pot meals. Just easy stuff that maybe you don't even use right now, but later to just get your mind going on easy meals to make, you and your family, or easy how to make bread, because now you're making bread yourself on an everyday basis or a twice a week basis or whatever the case may be, right? So this is just my list. I was thinking the other day, I saw some crazy holes of stuff we use all the time, and I just was upset because I'm just like, and stuff's so expensive, and so it's not as easy as it was to just go out and get, let's say you want 5 or 6 of something. It's not that easy to just do that these days. Stuff is expensive. It is expensive. It hurts my soul just going to the store on a regular basis now, where before I was not really conscious of it because it wasn't really hurting my wallet, right? It wasn't really so noticeable. I could get a whole cart of food for a couple $100 and let me, you know, mess around and really try hard with coupons and sales and buy in bulk. And I really could put a good dent in it for not a lot of money. And now it's like you barely get hardly anything in your cart and it's over $100, it's over $200, and it's really nothing. And then you take something where, okay, I want to get a little bit extra, or I want to get 4 of these this time. That stuff adds up, and you're definitely not able to do that with everything across the board. And so when you have these things that you're using every day that are dwindling down literally every day because it's hard times, and I think that you have preppers who are using and surviving off of those preparedness items, whether they're meaning to or not, or whether it's just because they're really not doing a lot of shopping anymore, right? They're trying to ride the wave of this inflation. So I hope this video was helpful for you. I hope it got your mind thinking about these holes, these preps, maybe a different way of approaching the items that you and your family use all the time to get them stockpiled back up, and to think about, you almost need more of those things than you would whatever your timeline is for, right? Because if you start using them, you won't just totally be depleted right off the bat. You'll just be depleted down to where your normal levels of what you want to have. Let's say you're shooting for 6 months, but you concentrate on toilet paper and you make sure you get a year's worth. That way, as you're using it, you're not buying toilet paper, you're not buying toilet paper, you're not buying toilet paper, you're using it. And then when it gets down to the 6 months, you know, you've hopefully caught it by then, so that you can get back into your rotations of the stuff that you need to fill holes. Something along those lines is what I'm thinking, at least for myself. So anyway, be well, be kind, do everything in love, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Take care. Bye.